Closely read the passage, then answer the questions. The gray cub grows up into a fierce adult named White Fang. White Fang is captured by a Native American tribe. His new owner, Gray Beaver, trains White Fang. White Fang, excerpt from Chapter 13. Jack London. It was in a village at Great Lake that, in the course of resenting the evil of the hands of the man-animals, he came to modify the law that he had learned from Gray Beaver, namely, that the unpardonable crime was to bite one of the gods. In this village, after the custom of all dogs in all villages, White Fang went foraging for food. A boy was chopping frozen moose meat with an axe, and the chips were flying in the snow. White Fang, sliding by in quest of meat, stopped and began to eat the chips. He observed the boy lay down the axe and take up a stout club. White Fang sprang clear, just in time to escape the descending blow. The boy pursued him, and he, a stranger in the village, fled between two teepees to find himself cornered against a high earth bank. There was no escape for White Fang. The only way out was between the two teepees, and this the boy guarded. Holding the club prepared to strike, he drew in on his cornered quarry. White Fang was furious. He faced the boy, bristling and snarling, his sense of justice outraged. He knew the law of forage. All the wastage of meat, such as the frozen chips, belonged to the dog that found it. He had done no wrong, broken no law, yet here was this boy preparing to give him a beating. White Fang scarcely knew what happened. He did it in a surge of rage, and he did it so quickly that the boy did not know either. All the boy knew was that he had in some unaccountable way been overturned into the snow, and that his club hand had been ripped wide open by White Fang's teeth. But White Fang knew that he had broken the law of the gods. He had driven his teeth into the sacred flesh of one of them, and could expect nothing but a most terrible punishment. He fled away to Gray Beaver, behind whose protecting legs he crouched when the bitten boy and the boy's family came, demanding vengeance. But they went away with vengeance unsatisfied. Gray Beaver defended White Fang. So did Mitsa, Gray Beaver's son, and Klukuch, Gray Beaver's wife. White Fang, listening to the wordy war and watching angry gestures, knew that his act was justified, and so it came that he learned that there were gods and gods. There were his gods, and there were other gods, and between them was a difference. Justice or injustice, it was all the same. He must take all things from the hand of his own gods. But he was not compelled to take injustice from the other gods. It was his privilege to resent it with his teeth. And this also was a law of the gods. Before the day was out, White Fang was to learn more about this law. Mitsa, alone, gathering firewood in the forest, encountered the boy that had been bitten. With him were other boys. Hot words passed. Then all the boys attacked Mitsa. It was going hard with him. Blows were raining upon him from all sides. White Fang looked on at first. This was an affair of the gods, and no concern of his. Then he realized that this was Mitsa, one of his own particular gods, who was being maltreated. It was no reasoned impulse that made White Fang do what he did. A mad rush of anger sent him leaping in amongst the combatants. 5 minutes later, the landscape was covered with fleeing boys, many of whom dripped blood upon the snow in token that White Fang's teeth had not been idle. When Mitsa told his story in camp, Gray Beaver ordered meat to be given to White Fang. He ordered much meat to be given, and White Fang, gorged and sleepy by the fire, knew that the law had received its verification. Read the sentence from paragraph 2, then answer the question. He knew the law of forage. What does forage mean in this context? A. Justice. B. Cruelty. C. Aggression. D. Scavenge. Number 2. What evidence from paragraph 2 best supports the answer to question 1? A. All the wastage of chips belonged to the dog that found it. B. He had done no wrong, broken no law. C. He did it in a surge of rage. D. His club hand had been ripped wide open by White Fang's teeth. Number 3. What can you infer about Gray Beaver's position in his tribe in paragraph 3? A. Gray Beaver is worshipped as a god in his tribe. B, many people admire Gray Beaver and wish to be counted among his friends. C, Gray Beaver is very powerful within his tribe. D, many people trust Gray Beaver to dispense justice. Number 4. What evidence best supports the answer to question 3? A, he fled away to Gray Beaver and could expect nothing but a most terrible punishment. B, White Fang knew that his act was justified. C, there were his gods and there were other gods, and between them was a difference. D, this was also a law of the gods. Number 5. Does White Fang, as presented in this excerpt, seem more like the good wolf or the bad wolf from the Cherokee story? Cite evidence from the text to support your answer.